Welcome back. It's 10 after 8 o'clock. It's a Tuesday morning, the 19th of September 2023, a beautiful day. And as I've indicated, lots coming your way. Our first story is with Professor Sam Koma. He is a public policy specialist, and we're going to be looking at South Africa is set to get a new state-owned company, but there are concerns that it could just end up becoming another government failure. Are we being overly cynical, or is this in fact a good news story? Professor Koma, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Professor, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Please, could you unmute your... Professor, are you there? All right. Once again, connectivity issues. We do apologize. We're going to ask Professor to perhaps reconnect. We have a picture, but we don't have any sound. So let's go for our first ad break of the morning so that we can have a long, uninterrupted conversation with Professor Koma.
Cooking, eating, and celebrating life together. Let's keep the kitchen a place that is shared by everyone, where we build stronger bonds and grow together. Sunfoil, now we cooking. Visit nowwecooking.co.za for recipes that everyone can help make.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
14 after 8 o'clock, and Professor Sam Koma has reconnected. Can you hear me? A very good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes, I can hear you very well, Julie. Thank you.
Lovely to have you on the show. And let me start off by saying that there's a warning over South Africa's new state-owned company. We are set to get a new state-owned company, but there seems to be huge concerns that it could just end up becoming another government failure. So the question to you, Professor, is, do we need a new state-owned company? Is it really necessary? What purpose is it going to serve? Not only government, more importantly, to us as taxpayers? And is it going to uplift, the all-important question, is it going to uplift the poorest of the poor and the marginalized?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Julie, for the opportunity. Yes, remember, the state of our state-owned enterprises is in a dire situation. We know that all in all, we have about 800 or so state-owned enterprises.
Okay, this ain't working at all. Professor's picture has frozen yet again. I think the best way to move forward on this interview,
These
which is an
are
important
state-owned.
one, is let's hook up with him via telephone. So, Professor, we're going to try and phone you. We'll do a telephonic interview rather than a video interview. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
This is Salam Media.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of black seed oil being applied by my nanny. Now I'm using Tib black seed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like Tib black seed. You can find Tib black seed at all leading pharmacies or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. You'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.
Ah, the kitchen, the heart of the home, where memories are made and celebrated. Our go-to place for those freshly stacked pancakes early in the morning or for that late-night snack munchies. We are in there together, cooking, eating, and celebrating life together. Let's keep the kitchen a place that is shared by everyone, where we build stronger bonds and grow together. Sunfoil, now we cooking. Visit nowwecooking.co.za for recipes that everyone can help make.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Welcome back. And as the saying goes, third time lucky. Let's see if we can reconnect with Professor Sam Koma. And we are talking about, should professionals run state-owned companies? Let's try and unpack this issue. Welcome back, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Would you like to respond to my opening statements and question number one?
Yes, so we know that the state of the governance of our state-owned enterprises is very dire, and also these are state-owned enterprises that largely are faced with serious financial, operational, and governance challenges. In the main, if you look at Denel, we know that Denel, till this day, is struggling to pay salaries of their employees. You also have ESCOM that in the last 3 years has had two boards. One board was dissolved. Now we have a new board. And also you have the South African Airways that for the past 2 or 3 years, it was under business rescue until they were able to secure the participation of a private equity partner, that is Takatso. We know that that deal has since been clinched. Then overall, these are state-owned enterprises that we know that for them to sustain and survive in terms of their operations, they rely on government bailouts. So this National State Enterprises Bill proposes that in the main, these state-owned enterprises should now consider the issue of ensuring long-term commercial sustainability, in addition to the other objectives that they are supposed to pursue. So it remains to be seen whether once this bill is enacted into law, we'll see a major turnaround around the management and the governance of these state-owned enterprises. But in the bill, and this is what some of us we are canvassing, is that the bill is short of a clear mechanism on how these directors of the board will be appointed. We know that, of course, in the bill, they speak about professionalism, merit, and all of that. But the best way to select and appoint members of the boards of state-owned enterprises will be if we have some process that is similar to how the Judicial Service Commission interviews and also consider the recommendation of appointment of judges. Remember, they go through a transparent, public-driven process. Their interviews are open to members of the public. And if this process can be incorporated in the bill, then I think we'll go a long way in terms of ensuring that at the end of the day, we have board members that have what it takes. They have the expertise, the knowledge, and the skills to drive the sustainability of our state-owned enterprises.
So, Professor, what I'm hearing is that it almost sounds like an oversight arm regarding state-owned enterprises. We know the mess that these, the SOEs are in currently. You mentioned a few as well. Would I be correct in thinking that that's going to be the sole purpose of this new state-owned company? And if so, what is the cost going to be to us as a country? Can we afford the costs? Because I'm now thinking if you have a board of directors or a board of sorts, they are obviously going to be paid members of the board. Nobody does anything for nothing. And if you are paid, then hopefully you will ensure that you do deliver. Your deliverables are, of a high caliber. And then also the other very all-important question, and I'm throwing a lot at you right now, but what happens if current predictions are true, if they stand up and the ANC loses the elections next year? What's going to happen to this new state-owned company? Would it still be in place? And what about the future of other state-owned enterprises post-elections if the ANC is not in power?
Yes, good question, Julie. So this is a bill that is at the moment subject to public comment, and a consultative process is also going to follow. If we look at the timeline, it means that this bill will only be finalized by Parliament next year after the 2024 elections. So the incoming Parliament will be the one that will be seized with the issue of having to finalize and also ensure that this bill is adopted. But they are just setting up a process to allow different stakeholders to make input into this bill with a view that come 2024, this bill will now become a legislation or a law. You remember, in the main, once this bill is enacted into law, the National Department of Public Enterprises, currently headed by Pravin Gordhan, will cease to exist. So you know that because this bill proposes the establishment of a state asset management holding company, which is going to consolidate all the state-owned enterprises that currently fall within the Department of Public Enterprises. That those are your Eskom, Denel, Transnet, Alesco, and South African Airways. Once the company is set up, owned by the state, those state-owned enterprises will now be transferred into the holding company, which will become what they call a parent company. Then under the parent company, you have the subsidiaries. The subsidiaries are these state-owned enterprises. We know that also there's a proposal on the table to merge some of these state-owned enterprises. Because of the number, as I said, it's around 800. So there's a view that they need to rationalize, reduce, merge some of these state-owned enterprises to have a sizable number. That's cutting costs, ensuring that there are efficiencies, and also ensuring that these state-owned enterprises become optimal in the manner in which they proceed to execute their functions.
Okay, so Professor, Business Leadership South Africa CEO Busisiwe Mavuso has said that, sorry, that these SOEs seriously impact the business environment and that government's finances are crucial for the nation's future growth. She also goes on to say that a new state-owned holding company that is fully empowered to turn around the government's flailing SOEs and bring in private shareholders would be very welcome.
Yes, Ms. Mavuso is correct. Remember, also what is in the bill is that these state-owned enterprises, once you have this holding company, they should become business-like in the manner in which they operate. So meaning they need to ensure that their commercial principles that are adhered to, they ensure that long-term commercial sustainability and viability of these state-owned enterprises, so that they rely less on taxpayers to become sustainable. So they have to go out in the market, attract private investment, and also attract foreign direct investment in terms of buying stakes in the state-owned enterprises. So that's what Ms. Mavuso is alluding to, and also I concur with her proposition.
But that will only be possible, obviously, if we there won't be a situation of cadre deployment, that we truly go onto the open market and appoint professionals, true professionals that can deliver. You know, CEOs of other big multinationals, people with the right credentials, or financial experts, CAs, etc., etc. And how can we as taxpayers ensure that there won't be a situation of cadre deployment here?
Yes, you're right, Julie. So we need to insist that in the final analysis, this bill must incorporate a process that is transparent and publicly driven. The manner in which these CEOs are going to be appointed, let's see a transparent process around that. Let them be subjected to a public interview process so that we know that the people that will be appointed to run this holding company and also the state-owned enterprises have what it takes. They have the qualifications, they have the expertise, and also the experience. And the point I raised earlier to say, let's have a process similar to how Judicial Service Commission runs its own affairs in selecting, interviewing, and recommending the appointment of judges. If we can have that incorporated in the bill, then that will curtail any potential element of cadre deployment.
I'm wondering about the timing of, introducing this, this scenario, introducing this new state-owned company, that's going to oversee the SOEs, the running of the SOEs. It's a little suspicious, is it not? Why just 2-3 months or a couple of months pre-election time?
Oh yeah, so this has been in the offing for some time. There has been some work done by Presidential Review Committee in the last 6 years or so. We know that there is a State Enterprises Advisory Board Council that advises the President on how to reconfigure and rationalize the state-owned enterprises. The ANC at its conference last year, there is a resolution around state-owned enterprises. So this is part of the momentum that has been built around ensuring that our state-owned enterprises are transformed, reconfigured, rationalized so that they are able to fulfill the strategic objectives assigned to them. So it's more about putting in place a process which seeks to fulfill all these important objectives and noble objectives.
Sadly, they haven't been very successful in the past 6 years, the committee. One wonders, they've been in office for the past 6 years. What exactly have they suggested, produced, or put forth regarding the failing SOE situation in the country?
There is realization that these state-owned enterprises, in their current form, they are not adding value to the country in strategic terms. I gave examples that Denel is failing. Eskom has 480 billion rand debt.
Sure.
They have to service that debt. They are also struggling to stay afloat because revenue from the state is also being reduced drastically. We know that last month the National Treasury has indicated that they are going to cut spending because the state revenue or the revenues that the state derives from taxpayers has drastically been reduced. So they now have to find ways and means on how to ensure that at the end of the day, we have state institutions, including state-owned enterprises, that begin to add value, but also become efficient in the manner in which they operate. So that is the dire situation that faces the country, faces the state. The state says we can no longer keep on bailing out these state-owned enterprises. At some point, they need to become commercially viable and also sustainable.
I'm wondering if this situation shouldn't have been perhaps addressed with a two-pronged view. We're looking at, government's looking at, looking at this new state-owned company to oversee SOEs. Has any work been done at combating corruption in these SOEs? I mean, corruption is at its worst. If there wasn't these corrupt activities that had unfolded over the past 30 years, we wouldn't be sitting in this situation, you and I, talking about this new company going forward.
You're right, Julie. You remember, if you look at the State Capture Commission report, largely the findings are around Eskom, PRASA, Transnet, and South African Airways. That tells us that the government has, over the last decade or so, failed to prevent corruption and capture of these state-owned enterprises. Until this day, we are yet to see serious consequence management meted out against the former board members of these state-owned enterprises, the CEOs who were party to this state capture phenomena in these state-owned enterprises and all of that. So this is a lesson we're drawing from how state-owned enterprises have been managed, governed in the last decade or so. But going forward, hence, there should be some serious intervention in terms of ensuring that there is good governance, there are practices of corporate governance that are adhered to and also infused in these state-owned enterprises. And that's the reason the bill does touch on the issue of professionalism, to say it's high time these state-owned enterprises are run by professionals who have what it takes, and also they have the expertise to govern and manage these state-owned enterprises.
My final question then to you, Professor, is as a public policy specialist yourself, you understand these things very, very deeply. And I'm kind of wondering why, after the Zondo Commission, having revealed that there's this large-scale corruption right from the top, that nobody has been brought to book as yet. We hear about the SIU and the Hawks, etc., prosecuting or, taking action against smaller players, but we're not hearing about the head honchos being taken to task.
Yes, we know that also in the State Capture Commission, there is a finding that our criminal justice institutions, law enforcement institutions were also captured. And we know that now there are attempts and also interventions that are being made by the head of the National Prosecuting Authority, Ms. Batohi, to ensure that there is independent directorate is purely established to investigate and also prosecute these high-profile individuals and high-profile cases. So they are building a momentum around that, and I agree with you that what we need to see is a sense of urgency in how these criminal justice institutions proceed to unravel corruption and act on any form of malfeasance that has shaped these state-owned enterprises.
Post the 2024 elections, whatever the outcome might be, do you believe that the country can be rehabilitated regarding large-scale corruption and we don't end up like just one of our North African neighbors in an absolute dire situation, Zimbabwe being a case in question?
Yes, this can only happen if our criminal justice institutions adhere to their constitutional obligation, which is to carry out their mandate without fear, favor, or prejudice. And they are fully resourced, capacitated to go after any individuals who happen to commit malfeasance, corruption, and also criminality. We'll see a turnaround.
Well, here's hoping for the best, praying that things is, post the elections, that we do see some positivity playing out in the country, that corruption is dealt with in a very, very serious and urgent way, and that we can rehabilitate and save the company from the brink of disaster. Professor Sam Koma, a public policy specialist, thank you indeed for your insights on this matter. Go well. God bless.
Actually.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era.